Hi guys, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, including news, business, finance, politics, entertainment, and most importantly right now, stimulus and the election. Because politics, stimulus, and the election, as everybody knows, are tied super close together. And I want to give you guys breaking updates into what is going on and what we can do coming up to protect our money and know what's coming out of the pipeline. Because this is getting scurry, y'all. If you didn't know, if you weren't already living out of your car. And before I begin, guys, I want to help you out in a couple different ways. Number one, we're giving away $100 gift cards. Very simple. This is all you have to do to enter. Like every video you see, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. You're entered, you're eligible. That's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for every video you see. And the more comments you leave, guys, the more chances you have to win. If you leave 100 comments, 100 times more chance you have to win. And it helps me grow the channel. So yay, good luck everybody. And if you need one-on-one stimulus help, find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight, like the page, join the group. The group is Katie's Corner, will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. We're helping people on a more one-on-one individual basis get stimulus money. We have British Gray, who's been killing the game in there. She's our new moderator, and she is helping people individually find money in their areas. So if you see her, always give her mad love and respect, because she's just doing this to be helpful. Okay, guys, on with the video. So where are we at? I'll give you a quick overview, then I'll go into exactly what I want to talk about. So we're in a big fat nothing burger. We all got excited because last week, Steve Mnuchin basically demanded that the Fed give back like $454 billion-ish and ended programs that were supposed to help prop the economy, but did jack. In fact, they only helped the wealthy people at the top get wealthy. It was basically really easy, cheap loans for the people at the top who didn't need them. And like the Main Street Lending Program was one of the big ones. And you'll hear, and I've broken this down, you'll hear so many sources basically just trashing Mnuchin. Oh, you're gonna buy that, when the reality is those programs really didn't help anybody but the rich. Now, what I can say real quick, and there's a reason I'm going into this again, what I can say about that is the good thing was that when it was announced, it gave confidence back to the market. So then money started flowing again, lending started happening. There wasn't a big crash. So just the fact that they existed. But Steve Mnuchin wants that money back. Why? So he can go buy a bunch of stuff and be nefarious with Trump, orange man bad? No. By the way, I'm not pro-Trump, anti-Trump. I'm just saying that's the narrative they're going to see in the mainstream media. He wants to give it back to Congress to help with the new stimulus bill. In my opinion, Steve Mnuchin is one of the only, from at least what I see of his actions, he's one of the only key players I think has the best intentions for Americans. Now, another thing is he's ending these programs. People are saying, oh, this is going to sabotage Biden, which unless Biden is looking to do something nefarious with the money, wouldn't at all, right? Now, I'm not saying he would or wouldn't. I'm just saying there's no reason for the media to put that out there because that's not a thing. It's not like, unless there's some loopholes I'm not aware of, it's not like either Trump or Biden can take over that money. It would be used to help make a new stimulus bill when it comes to the Congress. And here's where we're at with the Congress. So not only did Steve Mnuchin do all that, end the programs and get the money back, he's now got Mitch McConnell on his side. One more thing to note with these programs are supposed to end at the end of December. These were only for 2020, and since we have no other legislation, no other stopgap, we have nothing else right now in the way of all this. Unfortunately, this is just where we're at. He's literally following the laws of the CARES Act that said this needs to end on December 31st. So the fact that the media is trying to paint him as this horrible, nefarious character, in my opinion, is just grotesquely BS. But again, welcome to the American media in 2020 and what it's been probably for the last 50 or 60 years, if we're being honest. Now, with all of that being said, he's now got Mitch McConnell on board, and this is very important because Mitch is a key evil player. Mitch is, it's funny, you know, typically in a movie you have the protagonist and the antagonist, right? You got that one evil character that everything circles around. You've got like one or two good guys and like 10 evil ones here. Like, the cards are completely stacked against us, y'all. And Mitch McConnell has not gone to any private negotiations. So the White House and Democrats have tried to make deals. So Mnuchin, Meadows, and Trump have all tried to make deals with Pelosi and Schumer. Multiple times they met in private to try to get a deal done, and ultimately it fell through. Now, where's Mitch McConnell? Mitch McConnell is the leader of the Repubs. Where is he? Couldn't be bothered. Couldn't be bothered. He is just doing his job as what he lovingly calls and happily calls the crypt keeper. He lets bills go to die, just like the rest of the American people who are going to be homeless during the pandemic. I love how they keep saying, good hygiene, guys. It's not that hard. Just good hygiene. How do you have good hygiene when you don't have a home or running water or soap ready available? Somebody answer that question. Oh, you don't. So shut up. I'm so tired of all these people. Yeah, I'm so tired of these people. I can't stand it. And I know I'm not the only one. I know you guys are in the same boat with me. But he has finally got Mitch McConnell on board. Mitch McConnell's like, I'm ready to negotiate. They're supposed to, this week, get together with Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and go over a deal. However, and here's another really big fun one, apparently everybody's on Thanksgiving break. Y'all, they just work way too hard, only working maybe less than half a year at the Senate. Yeah, they're in there about half a year, maybe half a year, right around there, guys. They get an obscene amount of time off to make minimum starting $179,000. So let's say on average, they're making $225. And they get like months and months and months of time off. So once again, nothing is passed and they are on break because that's super important. So I don't see how any negotiations are going to start this week, obviously. I would think maybe next week. But Mitch McConnell's finally stepped up to the plate because we've had Democrats screaming into the mainstream media that the thing that's holding it back is Mitch McConnell, evil old Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell won't make a deal, but Mitch McConnell. Well, here's Mitch McConnell, and guess where Pelosi and Schumer have been since Mitch said I'm coming to the table now? Silent. This is exactly what I've been predicting, because I don't think the Democrats actually want to make a deal. When I say Democrats and Republicans, for the new people watching me, hi y'all new people, hi. Understand I'm talking about the crazy people at the top, not you fine people. So please, I hope you understand that this is not a diss at you guys, because most of you are reasonable people and we sit down, we can actually talk it out, we can kind of come to the same conclusions. We might just have slightly different ways of looking at it. No, these people are crazy and evil at the top, or the extremists is what I'm referring to. So, and here's the other great thing about what Steve Mnuchin is doing. So that frees up almost $500 billion to be able to do more stimulus negotiations. Because as we know, the Republicans famously want to spend next to nothing. And the Democrats want to spend too much on programs that don't really help us. How can you have $3.4 trillion worth of spending and only one round of stimulus checks for the American people? This is where I keep telling people, I'm like, yes, Mitch McConnell is evil for not wanting to help enough, but the Democrats are also shady as HELL. Why all that money and not doing enough to help us? Another thing I have a really big problem with. I have a really big problem with how we treat women, elderly, and the sick and disabled in this country. I think we should all be ashamed of ourselves. Why should unemployment get $600 a week, but people on benefits shouldn't? Can somebody, and I'm not even, by the way, I'm not attacking unemployment. Give it to them, right? I think they should have it. So this isn't like, take it away. No, I'm saying they should have it. My question is, why shouldn't we give people who are on the benefits $600? Anybody? Bueller? And seriously, sound off in the comments. Is there a flaw in my logic here? Or is it just because they are throwaways? Because we don't look at them as productive in society and therefore they don't have nearly as much worth and they shouldn't have a good quality of life. I swear in the United States, we have this hard work mentality. That's not a bad thing, but we also almost have a slave mindset to it. And it just makes me sad that the unemployed need so much help, but the disabled, the chronically ill, the sick, the elderly who are on, benefits, they don't need anything. Just, again, sound off if that makes any sense to you guys, because obviously it doesn't. And I could hear some of the arguments, but a lot of people, guys, on disability or benefits, they can have little part-time jobs that are probably gone. Those are probably some of the first people they cut, if we're going to be really honest. So yeah, it's just stuff like that bothers me. And also hazard pay. I think any frontline workers should get a chunk of between $20,000 to $40,000 that falls into their lap. I think you should. I think you should have the ability to go buy a brand new car if you wanted. That's my opinion. So if that $3.4 trillion was going to all of that, I'd be totally fine with it. But it really bothers me because we've had Mitch and Nancy screaming. We have had them screaming. Nancy and Schumer screaming. But this really bothers me because we have Nancy Pelosi and Schumer screaming. This is all the Republicans' fault. They won't come to the table. But now we have this money, this $454, almost $500 million for them. Sorry, not $500 million, $500 billion for them to work with. And if you guys remember in the negotiations, we had the White House come up to $1.9 trillion and the Democrats were at $2.2 trillion. This could easily make a deal. Personally, I think this is partially a call out from the Republicans, from the White House, and from Mnuchin to show people the Democrats really don't want to negotiate. I don't think we're going to see any movement, real movement, okay? Not, they might do posturing in front of the media or manipulation, but I don't think we're going to see real movement until they know that their boy Biden is securely in office, because I think they don't feel completely secure about that situation. Now, I'm not saying that I'm this or I'm that, or I'm against or I'm for. I'm just telling you what it looks like. I think we're going to see a lot of, like they did before the election, the carrot and the stick in front of the donkey. We're going to see a lot of that until their plan materializes in the way that they want. This is going to get real weird, guys. And furthermore, another piece of information before I go into what I really want to talk about. President Trump, I don't know if you guys saw this, but President Trump, and I have a video from this last night, so make sure and check that video out. He has conceded to let Biden do the transition, which is huge because Trump was firmly against that. Now, I'll tell you the couple sides to this because there are two sides. I'll let you figure out what you think is correct. So one narrative is that he's done this because he knows he's run out of complete legal options and he will be in really big trouble if he doesn't. Okay, and considering he has lost 34 cases, I can understand that logic, right? That can make sense. However, let's look at the alternative. And the alternative to that is, and this is what Trump had tweeted. Trump had tweeted that the person, Emily Murphy, I believe is her name, at the GSA, now that's the one that would handle and oversee that transition, let the funds go through, do all of that. He was saying that she was having people be not very nice to her in very extreme ways. Please infer. It might be words that are like H-A, maybe some M-E-N-T in there, like stuff that was really scary. You know, where they would do like T-H-E. You might throw an I-N-G things at her. I hate doing this, guys. I hate treating you like toddlers and having to spell things out. But I'm on YouTube. Also, I've seen some comments where like other YouTubers don't have to do that. Why do you have to do that? So understand my channel is still to YouTube standards very, very new. And they're very trigger happy when it comes to not knowing how to rate a channel yet. And that's kind of where mine is at. So I have to be a little bit careful as to what I say or what I do. I'm always going to have to be careful because it's YouTube. But just to kind of give you guys a heads up. So that's where we're at right now. But a couple other interesting key pieces have come into play. So one of those key pieces is that I just did this yesterday. Go check it out. Or it's either yesterday or today. It might be coming out today. I don't remember anything. I know I had a rainbow shirt on and I was feeling good that day. I like this one too, though. So when it comes to all of that, this is what it's talking about. Biden is being pushed to do executive orders to go ahead and get stimulus done in whatever way he wants, which I think is very, very rich, coming from all the Democrats that screamed that Trump is treasonous. He's going against the Constitution. He's going to go to prison because he did his own executive orders. Oh, he can't do that. And then he did it. Trump just up and did the executive orders, which is awesome. I thought a very baller move on his part. Those things don't go, they don't help us enough. They don't go far enough to help us. Yes, there are issues. I do want to point that out. There are absolutely issues, but he was the only one willing to step up. Well, now we have a situation where all the Dems are screaming that they're getting everything in place to help Biden, not just in his transition, obviously, but part of that transition is going to be executive orders. However, then we also have reports where Biden has said to Nancy, hey, we're on the same page. Mi casa, su casa, mi casa, your house. It's just, I'm so sorry. When it comes from these rich, white, like entitled, awkward people, it just sounds weird. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just hearing them try to use Spanish like that to bolster their egos. There's something upsetting about that. Now, I'm not trying to be a super social justice warrior. I'm just saying these people, the Democrats drive me nuts more than anybody, guys. And I know I've said this. If I have a little bit of a bias, it's going to be against Democrats only because they're so hypocritical. The Republicans are evil, rich, mean people. They are. But at least we know what they are and we know where we stand. The Democrats act like they want socialism and communism and they're fighting for everybody's rights, all while they turn around and they're all extremely wealthy, own many homes, and don't follow any of the things that they preach. I think that's why a lot of people get mad, and there's a lot of people like me in this situation who end up going over to the other side. But I have some information, as I always do, that I want to go ahead and pull up about all of this. And this is what we're hearing as of today. It says, Biden team is reportedly pushing congressional Democrats to strike an immediate stimulus deal with Republicans to stave off a renewed recession. And that's the big headline. And here's what bothers me too. The fact that they are now preparing for recession, where Trump was doing everything he could to make sure we didn't get there. These people are just preparing that it's going to happen. That just doesn't sit right with me. And here's the thing, I could hear your arguments and I could agree to some extent, because I could hear some people saying, okay, but let's think about it this way. Well, Biden now is inheriting the mess and there hasn't been any stimulus and Trump might have blah, 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 and the process has taken too long. So therefore we don't have any other choice but to go into recession. I get it. But it bothers me because I feel like we should also have some hope and optimism. And when Trump was hopeful and optimistic, people, oh my goodness, he was just attacked up one side and down the other because he's not being realistic. But if Biden just shows sheer blind hope anywhere, everybody jumps up and just yells and jeers and screams. I don't know. It's just watching how brainwashed we all are. When the media tells us to do something, we do it. If the media says we're being good or bad, you better listen. Kind of like when you believe in the fairy tales of Santa Claus, right? It just bothers me. All big media bothers me. But let's go ahead and let's go into this. It says, President-elect Joe Biden's economic advisor, fear another recession is looming, the New York Times has reported. The impasse over another stimulus package and the prospect of millions of people losing unemployment benefits are leading them to press congressional Democrats to pass another aid package very quickly, the Times has said. The surge in virus cases is causing another wave of restrictions and closures that experts say could deal a blow to the economic recovery. So let's go into this. President-elect Joe Biden's economic advisors are reportedly pressing congressional Democrats to quickly strike a stimulus deal with Republicans, fearing the U.S. is on course for a recession as virus cases surge and a new aid package remains elusive. The New York Times reported on Sunday that the Biden team was also increasingly worried about the prospect of millions of Americans losing unemployment benefits next month, along with the expiration of the federal eviction protection and student loan deferrals. I'm sorry, this one I'm going to call out. This one drives me nuts. Well, here's the thing. Maybe the Biden team is worried about that. I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they're not. But Nancy Pelosi, we could have had benefits extended until the end of December, end of January, because Trump tried to make that deal with her. She said no. She said no. Trump has tried to make all kinds of deals with them in private where he asks for nothing just to help the American people right now. So unfortunately, I wonder if they're going to wait until Biden's in office because they just everything they can do to make Orange Man look bad so that when Biden gets in office, it can look like he's the hero that came in and saved everybody. Because you remember, guys, it's not about what's real. It's about the stories they create and the narratives they paint and what we buy into. And here's the thing. This is what bothers me. That's not even coming from me, who's a super conservative or super this or super that. This is just common sense of weighing the information. I feel like when you take yourself out of identity politics, what you're being told that you have to identify as politically, and you just weigh the information as it is, a lot of this stuff becomes more clear. It's all, and no matter if you like Trump or not, that's not my point. The point is they're putting the American people in jeopardy, all to make him look bad, in my opinion. It says, so the New York Times on Sunday said that Biden's team was also increasingly worried about the prospect of millions of Americans losing unemployment benefits next month, along with the expiration of federal eviction protections and student loan deferrals. Those programs run out December 31st, but there's more to that. So if you're on regular unemployment, you'll be fine. But the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or like in my area, they call it the DUA, depending on where you are, evictions and student loans, all of that is done. So if you were on those programs when it came to unemployment, you could be screwed, unfortunately. The threat of a double dip recession is heightening the urgency to reach an agreement on an economic relief package, even if it's not as expansive as what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer sought, the Times reported. Okay, now that bothers me. The threat of a double dip recession is heightening the urgency to reach an agreement on an economic relief package, even though it's not as expansive as what Nancy and Chuck wanted. Really? The urgency is all of a sudden, now that you think you got Biden securely in place because we're going to do a double dip recession, y'all have known. Quit playing, Democrats. Y'all have known. You knew. You have allowed us to go this far into this situation because you will drag us through the mud. And basically, in my opinion, you will do horrible things to us. You know, cross over things, pass over things. You don't care. You absolutely don't care. So don't act like, well, you might not get the package you want because we might go into a double. We've been on that path. If we go there, it's because you and the Republicans created that. Republicans created it by being evil, but you guys created it by wanting too much to not help the American people. Both of them did. So tired of both of these people. The Biden transition team did not immediately respond to requests for comment. A Biden spokesman, Andrew Bates, told the Washington Post reporter Jeff Stein that this is incorrect and that the president-elect fully supports the speaker and leader in the negotiations. All right? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Republicans and Democrats, for months, clashed over the size and scope of a stimulus package to prop up the economy. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has sought a slimmer aid bill similar to the $500 billion measure that Democrats have twice rejected. Congressional Democrats favor a broader multi-trillion-dollar plan that would include $1,200 stimulus checks, $600 federal unemployment benefits, funds for the virus testing and contact tracing, and state aid. The impasse threatens to punt. It says punt. I don't know why it makes me giggle. The arrival of federal aid until after Biden assumes office in January. I feel like the Democrats doing this in this article from Business Insider just called themselves out. The impasse threatens to punt the arrival of federal aid until after Biden assumes office in January. I think that's what they are wanting all along. Now, the other thing is, Democrats, they say they favor a broader multi-trillion-dollar plan that would include $1,200 stimulus checks. Well, some of this is untrue. The Republicans are totally on board with that. The $600 federal unemployment benefits, they'd like to see that go down to $200 or $300, but they're still on board to help unemployment. In fact, I don't even think at this point that $600 would be a stopping point for them. Virus testing and contact tracing, they're fine with. State aid is where we have the issue. The Democrats want way too much that doesn't go to help the American people. But then, to the credit of the Democrats, they have said the amount we need keeps getting higher because it's been almost a year since we've had a package. So more expenses have piled up. And, you know, the logic of that is not lost on me. I'll concede that point. It makes sense. And it says, since his election victory over President Donald Trump, Biden has jumped in on discussions about another economic aid package. On Friday, Pelosi, Schumer, and Biden reiterated their calls for Congress to pass another relief plan before the end of the so-called lame duck session. So the only good thing, if you can call it that, is that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, are calling to do something before the end of this lame duck session or before the end of this year. And you guys don't know if you know this. You probably know this by now, at least. Lame duck means that's the time between the current president and the next president coming in. It's kind of that time period right in between. And really, November and December are kind of more looked at as holiday months, you know, especially December, right? Because you have, right at the end of November, you got Thanksgiving, and then you have Christmas, and some people take off a couple weeks for that. And of course, the Senate's just going to barely be there because why would they? Why would they be out working on behalf of the American people and helping us for about $225,000? Can you imagine evil old crypt keeper Mitch McConnell? Probably makes $250,000 on that alone and just doesn't want to help anybody. It's so gross. Did y'all hear that? We got rain and thunder. It's so weird. I don't know. It's always weird to me that I'm in Oklahoma and we're a little bit south. So I'm from Kansas City. I'm literally from the belly button, the center of the country, where we get all the extreme weather, right? We get the crazy, you know, heat waves and humidity, but we also get these crazy snowstorms and blizzards that can bring a foot, sometimes 2 feet of snow, depending. And I like Oklahoma City just because it's way more southern. It's more southern and the weather is much more milder in the winter. And for all my conditions, the cold, it's not just, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it. It's extremely painful, I can't function. But with all the issues I know I've told you guys about with my health, it now all makes sense. Low blood volume. Same thing with the mountains. Love the mountains, but I can't stay there too long because I can't function. Well, your blood has to do different things and get thicker, and you know that it has to multiply, and mine kind of has a hard time with that. So makes sense. But no, I didn't know if you could hear the thunder. So it's always weird to me when I'm like, well, I guess it's still technically fall, but it should be like, for instance, in Kansas City, it's going to feel more now like winter, right? So I'm just used to this time feeling, and basically it's right on the verge of being winter. And I'm like, it's weird that we're having rainstorms and thunderstorms, but welcome to the South. I'm only like an hour and a half away from Dallas. I love Texas. So anyways, it says, but a recent spike in virus cases has prompted more restrictions and business closures in many parts of the country. And experts have said a delay in federal aid could seriously harm the economy at a vulnerable moment in its recovery. It just makes me mad that they're saying this because this is what we've been hearing for almost a year. And for almost a year, both parties could have given a crap less. Jobless claims spiked last week for the first time since October, and new hiring has slowed. Oh, it's not like all of us, even those of us like me, we're not financial experts, but it's not like this was common sense we all predicted. It's insulting to our intelligence, guys. In the current environment, Mitch McConnell is unlikely to agree to a $2 trillion package. I'm gonna butcher this. Arindrajit Doob. I apologize because I'm sure whoever you are super into I wonder what Katie's analysis is going to be today. Anyways, he says he's an economist and a professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. He said that on Twitter. Yeah, because all the economists are coming to me for info, guys. I'm that important. It's much better to make difficult compromises than to enter the new year without any relief. At some point, we have to cut our losses, otherwise the pain will be greater. Yeah, but where have these people, I like that they all of a sudden act like they care now. It happened again. Are you guys hearing it? I think you can, it's picking up on my mic. You can hear my thunder. Anyway, analysis at JP Morgan projected on Monday that gross domestic product would contract in the first quarter of 2021 by 1% on an annualized basis. Goldman Sachs lowered its first quarter forecast, but still it expects a 1% growth next year. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate a couple things. It is so insulting, in my opinion, to our intelligence that they are now acting like, oh, like, oh, we're gonna fix this. I wonder where this came from. Like, are you kidding me, y'all? Are you? The Republicans are mean, evil old Republicans that said wait and see, knowing they're gonna hurt us. The Democrats said we're gonna do things and we don't really care if we hurt you guys, but then we're gonna act like we're your savers. Your savers, your lifesavers. Saviors, life saviors. Oh, I would eat think about it if they had lifesavers, but they were religious themed, so I could suck on Jesus. Oh, that sounds awful. I'm so sorry to any boomers who are offended by that. I didn't mean for it to come out that way, but it is kind of funny to come out that way. That's what she said. Quit it, guys. Get your minds out of the gutter. Quivers. All right. Remember? Good Sunday morning. Okay, now I want to go over this, though, because this one I also find interesting, too. It says, this is from the NewYorkPost.com. Biden to Schumer and Pelosi in my Oval Office. Mi casa, you casa. It's even worse than mi casa, it's mi casa, you casa. And then Biden has said so many R-word things. That's another thing that bothers me. The Democrats say, oh, Trump's the biggest R-word. And yeah, Trump's done and said some stuff I do not agree with and I'm not okay with. But Biden's even worse. But they totally give him the seal of approval and thumbs up because the media tells you when to jump and how high, in my opinion. Here we go. President-elect Joe Biden told House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer that they would have plenty of sway in the White House, butchering the Spanish phrase, mi casa su casa, or your house is my house. Thank you. I'm so glad the New York Post is calling them out for this too. Again, it's just that old, white, awkward culture. And you know what? I'm totally okay with old, white, and awkward to an extent, but when you're those a-holes with all that money that are kind of us, that's where I'm not going to be okay with it. So it says, in my Oval Office, mi casa, you casa. Biden, I can't say it without, I'm cringing. Biden told Congress's two most powerful Democrats at a meeting in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, on Friday, flanked by Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. Biden is continuing preparations to become the next occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, even as President Trump refuses to concede the election and fights the vote count in court. Pelosi and Schumer have a contemptuous relationship with Trump. Oh, that's a mild way to put it. It's always funny to watch Trump and Pelosi constantly trade jabs. I know Trump says a lot of crap, but it's funny because Nancy, a lot of times, she just keeps going at him. And then when he says something, she kind of plays victim. But again, welcome to the upper level Democrats. This is how they operate. White House, says, while Schumer and Trump, both native New Yorkers, who have, why did I say New Yorkers? Is that weird? Mi casa New Yorkers. Who have also known each other for decades, have spoken by phone throughout the pandemic on urgent virus relief. Pelosi and the commander-in-chief have not spoken in more than a year. The trio last met during a heated Oval Office meeting on October 16, 2019, which Pelosi stormed out when Trump criticized her leadership style. For some reason, I read that as hairstyle. Sorry. So, okay, I want to read this again because I do think it's funny. The trio last met during a heated Oval Office meeting on October 15th, 2019, which Pelosi stormed out when Trump criticized her leadership style. I don't know what that was about because that was before stimulus and I wasn't studying these people in the depth that I am now. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall or I could have seen whatever they said about each other because I thought it was funny. Recently, Pelosi and Trump have been at odds over how much aid should be spent to combat the pandemic and have traded blows from afar. Trump calling Pelosi Crazy Nancy, or as we like to call her, Nance, Quivering Nance, good Sunday morning, Nance. And the speaker responded in kind by dismissing the president a psychopathic nut in calls with Democratic caucus in recent weeks, according to multiple reports. Biden has vowed to support Democrats in Congress as the virus relief stalemate continues, but Republicans in the GOP-controlled Senate are likely to block those efforts, refusing to even acknowledge Biden as president-elect. So, what are my final thoughts on this, at least for now, and what do I think this means? Well, number one, I think it's obvious. I think it means we're screwed, but am I gonna reinvent the wheel and tell you something you don't know? I really think this is showing us, in my opinion, hearing this and reading between the lines, and it really pains me to say it, so understand I'm not saying this with fun in any way. I don't think the Democrats have any intention of passing anything until their boy is firmly secured. And I think this article illustrates that. Remember, a lot of times in the media, they, these places, these big political leaders, these people at the top, they use the media to condition us in terms of what to expect and what is coming, right? We've seen that like with The Simpsons. Y'all seen that stuff with The Simpsons? Go down that rabbit hole when you see how many things they predicted in the future. Weird stuff. So we've heard rumors about that. And we've seen things and elements where Hollywood, or the people at the top will use the media in Hollywood to kind of prepare us for certain things in the future, certain realities, start to put those thoughts in our minds and get us comfortable with something like that. And I think seeing the media, and they repeatedly take this and run with it, that, well, they're concerned now, double-dip recession, nothing until January, nothing until Biden's in office. I think that's them letting us know they have no plans. Because here's the thing. If it's evil old Mitch McConnell and he won't do anything, and now suddenly he's totally on board and he's ringing up their phones, why are Nancy and Schumer so quiet? I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Just like I do find it odd that Trump, yes, he's loud on his Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt what I'm saying. He is not in the media at all while he's going through all of these arguments about what's happening with his situation with the election. So I'm looking at this going, okay, so when they're quiet, either I think it's not to be trusted or they're up to something. And in my opinion, I think in this situation, Trump is up to something, and the Democrats, you can't trust. So I think this is what we should trust. If anything's going to come, here's my opinion more and more as this time goes on. I think we're going to see more political posturing. I think we're going to see the Trump administration in different ways, and the Republicans call out the Democrats for not coming to the table and trying to kind of showcase how they don't really want to help us. I think that if we do get any help, it's going to have to be some type of executive orders from Trump. Now, is that going to happen? I've been saying I don't think so because of the election, but Trump is such a wild card. And if he's going to try to turn this election over, and let's say he can, he still has to win the minds of the American people, because right now they've all been hijacked and brainwashed by the mainstream media, telling us who's won and who hasn't won, even though nobody's clearly won yet, and we can't yet pick a winner. So I kind of hesitate to say too much about it yet. But what I will say is this. I think it's going to get really interesting. I think things are going to get weirder, and I don't think things are over. We all know stimulus isn't over. But I think we're going to see some more weirdness with the election, and we're just going to kind of have to wait and see what happens, and just stay tuned, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, guys, if you like this video, please help me and my channel out and give me a big thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified what's coming in the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Sound off in the comments. I want to hear everything. And guys, please share this content with as many people that are struggling right now. People who are on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, stimulus checks, SBA loan and grant issues, and everything in between. I've got tons of tools and tons of resources to help you during this very difficult time, and I would love nothing more than to do just that. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, and share the content, the more my channel grows, the more more things I can do to give back to you guys. For instance, like I said earlier, we're doing our $100 gift card giveaway. Very simple. This is all you have to do. Like every video you see, subscribe, hit notifications, share the content, boom. You're entered, you're eligible. That's all you have to do. And make sure and comment. And guys, the more times you do this, the more chances you have to win. So do it for every video, and the more comments you leave, The more times you share, the more chances you have to win. If you leave 100 comments, 100 times more chance you'll win a gift card. Yay! Good luck, everybody. I want everybody to win, but I don't want to go bankrupt, so let's get me rich, and I'll help get you guys rich, and we will all help each other. It's just one circle jerking of love. I shouldn't have used that phrase. It's like, as it was coming out, I knew something was wrong, and once it came out, I'm like, there it is. All right, sorry about that. Actually, I'm not necessarily sorry because I have a really, guys, in my real life, I have a super big sailor mouth. I just can't have it here. So I hope I didn't offend anybody. My apologies if I did. Find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page. Join the group. The group is Katie's Corner. We'll be changed to Katie's Insight soon. We're helping you guys on a one-on-one basis get stimulus money in your area. Give love and respect to British Gray. She is out there killing it for everybody, as well as Alice, another one who's been super helpful. Ramel Graves. Thank you, girl. Love to all of you guys. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this video here now, but I have more coming, so make sure and stay tuned. This has been Katie. Thank you so much for listening to my insight, and until next time, take care, blessings. I will see you guys all soon. Hugs and kisses, mwah, and loves. Bye, guys.